ever watch a couple on TV and just feel something is off? Like they look too calm, too polished, almost as if they're performing perfection instead of living it? That was exactly the vibe people started picking up when they looked at Maurice and Kimmi Scott on Love and Marriage Huntsville. On the surface, they seemed like the dream team. Educated, respected, financially stable, and mature. They were the couple many pointed to as proof that love could last, even when life was busy and careers were demanding. But if you slowed down, if you really looked at the quiet moments between them, you'd notice the cracks. Subtle, but there. And now that so much has come to light, it feels almost unbelievable how the warning signs were right in front of us the whole time. From the beginning, Kimmi carried herself with a rare mix of strength and grace. She was never the loudest voice in the room. She didn't chase after drama or need to be the center of attention. But anyone paying attention could see she was the glue holding everything together. She kept the peace when conversations got heated. She softened hard moments with her calm presence. She was the anchor, the one who made their home, their marriage, and even their public image feel steady. Maurice, on the other hand, played the role of the ambitious husband. He was always building, always working. Real estate events, speeches, business meetings. He wore the polished lawyer smile that seemed unshakable. But behind that charm was something else. Distance. His attention was everywhere but at home, and the deeper you looked, the more obvious it became. The unraveling of their picture-perfect story didn't start with yelling or cheating scandals. It started with something far heavier: silence. When Kimmi was diagnosed with breast cancer, everything changed. That was the moment when real love, the kind that isn't just words or public appearances, was supposed to step up. Love in sickness and in health. Love that doesn't run when things get hard. And while Maurice was physically there, going to doctor's appointments, holding her hand, showing up in front of cameras, emotionally, he wasn't present. He had mastered showing up for the world, but the one person who needed him most felt invisible. Kimmi's body was fighting for her life, but her heart was fighting for something just as important: to feel seen, understood, and cherished by the man who had promised never to let her walk alone. One of the most heartbreaking moments came during an episode where Kimmi, smiling through tears, explained how exhausting it was. Not just the chemo, not just the physical pain, but the emotional weight of feeling like she couldn't fall apart. She felt like she had to hold herself together, not for herself, but for Maurice. She didn't want to make him uncomfortable. She wrapped her pain in politeness, carefully choosing her words so she wouldn't push him away. But that's not love, that's survival. That's pretending. And fans noticed. Social media lit up with comments. Some people asked why Kimmi always looked tired, why her energy seemed dimmer. Others openly accused Maurice of being more focused on business than on the woman who was fighting for her life. And then the silence between them became louder than any argument could have been. It wasn't screaming matches that revealed the truth. It was the lack of connection, the missing tenderness, the emotional distance that became impossible to ignore. Then the whispers started. Screenshots began to circulate online, supposed legal paperwork with the words separation filing and Grant versus Scott. Nobody knew if they were real, but the timing couldn't have been worse. They surfaced right when Kimmi was in the middle of her chemo battle. That's when people began asking terrifying questions. Was Maurice preparing to walk away? Was he protecting his money? Preparing for life after Kimmi while she was still fighting to stay alive? Bloggers began digging, and the claims only grew darker. Word spread that Kimmi herself had quietly met with a family law attorney, not to file immediately, but to understand her options. Some claimed she had discovered financial moves Maurice made without her knowledge, separating personal funds from business accounts, quietly shifting things around as if he was preparing for the worst without telling her. And then came the footage. Grainy, zoomed in, but clear enough. Maurice walking out of a law office with another woman. They weren't just walking, they were laughing, touching, moving in a way that suggested history, not just casual acquaintance. Fans quickly dubbed her the arm candy. But internet detectives are fast. They found her. Dr. Nia Vaughn, a dermatologist from Atlanta. Private social media, but too many connections to Maurice to be a coincidence. Photos from seminars, LinkedIn connections, background appearances. Suddenly, everything clicked. The emotional distance, the silence, the strange timing. Kimmi wasn't just feeling unsupported, she was unsupported. The internet exploded. Hashtags like #MauriceExposed and #JusticeForKimmi trended. Some fans were devastated, others furious, and many just shocked that the couple who looked so stable might have been held together by nothing more than image and obligation. But what hit hardest wasn't the cheating rumors, it was Kimmi's silence. No long rants, no messy Instagram lives, no cryptic tweets, just one Instagram story. Black background, white letters, people know exactly what they're doing. Let the performance fool you, that was all. And it was enough. People knew exactly what she meant without her saying his name. Her silence wasn't weakness, it was power. While Maurice kept posting about work, smiling in pictures, and pretending life was normal, Kimmi was making moves. She was done begging for effort. She was done waiting for change. According to a trusted blogger, Kimmi reached out to one of Atlanta's top divorce attorneys. Not a local Huntsville lawyer. This was a high-profile, high-stakes professional. That one step said everything. Sources close to her revealed she had been collecting evidence for weeks. Texts, late-night calls, photos of Maurice and Dr. Vaughn taken long before the law office sighting. One source said the messages weren't graphic, but deeply personal. Lines like, "I miss this," and "You always get me." Enough to shatter trust, especially when Kimmi was homesick, bald from chemo, and crying herself to sleep. When she confronted Maurice, he didn't deny it. Instead, he dismissed her. He blamed her stress. He said she was being paranoid from the medications. Classic gaslighting. Instead of comforting her, he made her doubt her own sanity. That was it. That was the breaking point. Kimmi filed, quietly, firmly, with no need for cameras or public spectacle. The divorce papers weren't just legal documents. They were a record of years of emotional neglect. They highlighted how often she reached out for emotional support only to be met with silence, logic, or cold advice. They revealed the truth. Maurice wasn't there when it mattered most. And the betrayal wasn't just about another woman. It was about the fact that Maurice had shown he could be emotionally present, just not for her. He had chosen to give his empathy to someone else while his wife battled cancer. That cut deeper than any affair. When Kimmi walked away, it wasn't out of bitterness. It wasn't revenge. It was clarity. She had tried counseling. She had prayed. She had begged. She had given chance after chance. And in return, she received indifference, deflection, and distance. So she left. For her peace, for her healing, for the version of herself that no longer had to shrink or smile for the sake of keeping appearances. People close to her noticed the change immediately. She moved differently, quieter, stronger. No more explaining, no more defending, just reclaiming her space and her dignity. Maurice, meanwhile, went into hiding. No heartfelt posts, no public apologies, just PR moves and a sudden focus on business promotions. But the mask had slipped, and people had seen the man behind it. The court of public opinion had spoken. Fans rallied around Kimmi. Strangers flooded her inbox with messages of support. Castmates reached out privately. People didn't just admire her for battling cancer, they admired her for finally choosing herself. Because this wasn't just reality TV anymore, this was real life. And in real life, healing doesn't always come with applause. Sometimes it comes quietly, in the decision to stop pouring into someone who only gives you drops in return. Kimmi didn't leave for attention. She didn't leave for drama. She left for peace. And that choice, choosing peace over pain, was the bravest thing she's ever done. At the end of the day, Kimmi's story isn't just about a broken marriage, it's about courage. She showed the world that strength isn't always about holding on. Sometimes it's about letting go. Walking away from years of silence and disappointment wasn't weakness, it was freedom. She chose herself, her healing, and her peace over keeping up appearances. And that choice touched people everywhere who know what it feels like to give more than you get back. Kimmi's journey reminds us all, real love shows up. And if it doesn't, you have every right to walk away.